Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Markets recover some of Thursday's losses but see second straight weekly loss. The Nifty crosses 19,600. Frontline indices gain nearly 1%.
We all became overly reliant on China. I mean, China has been a growing country. They focus very much on the basic starting materials and the API, as you said. We need to see that distributed more around the world.
US FDA Commissioner Dr. Robert Califf tells CNBC-TV18 that the drug regulator is looking to cut its dependence on China and source more from across the world, says India remains a dominant supplier, adding that there will be more unannounced quality inspections in India. That's a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. The Hindustan Zinc board authorizes its committee of directors to evaluate corporate restructuring plans. The move could create separate entities for zinc, lead, silver and recycling business. The stock rallies in trade. SEBI asks MCX to keep the transition to the new platform in abeyance, given a writ petition has been filed in the Madras High Court. The exchange says it will place detailed documents before SEBI's Technical Advisory Committee. The Jalan Kalro Consortium says it's paid 350 crore rupees towards the revival of grounded airline Jet Airways. The consortium says it has fulfilled all commitments needed to take control of the airline. It plans to take Jet Airways back to the skies in 2024. Schools shut, several flights disrupted as Kannada organizations called for a 12-hour ban to oppose the release of water from the Kaveri River to Tamil Nadu. The Apex Court had earlier upheld the Kaveri Water Management Authority's order, asked Karnataka to release 5,000 cusecs of water to Tamil Nadu. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar meets U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in Washington. America says discussions were held on a range of issues, including the key outcomes of India's G20 presidency, the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor. However, no mention on whether the strained Indo-Canada ties were discussed. Well, first half of the day's market action. The markets did recover some of yesterday's losses. All the frontline indices were up nearly 1% each, except the IT index. Let's take a look at the Nifty, closing 114 points high. The sensex put on about 320 points today. Metals and PSUs were amongst the top gaining stocks. The mid-cap index closing over 400 points high. The Nifty Bank up by about 283 points. For the week, the sensex and the Nifty have the Nifty Bank has recorded losses for the second straight week. Prashant is standing by now with the details. Prashant, take us through the weekly close as well as what we should look forward to.
Well, there was relief from last night, which is the fact that you had US yields, the dollar and oil prices all coming off very high levels. And it looked like it would be a decent, good start. But it turned out to be better than decent. It turned out to be great until, of course, the last 30 minutes of sell-off. So at one point, the Nifty was up almost 200 points higher, and we ended about 100 points up. So in the last 60 minutes, about 100 points were given back. So there was a sharp pullback. Now, on the Bank Nifty as well, the situation was similar. That's been the weaker of the two indices, but it managed a decently higher close as compared to the previous few sessions. Mid-caps and small-caps, no problems at all. 1% each on both those indices. Now, on the Nifty, you had gains coming through in names like Hindalco. NTPC would look good. Hero MotoCorp, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Divi's and Tata Motors were some of the other names which did well. Adani Enterprises, LTI, Mindtree and Infosys. Actually, technology stocks were under pressure after the Accenture numbers. Broader markets, gains coming through in names like Glenmark, GMDC. There was Vedanta, which spiked up. Hindustan Zinc was higher. Hindalco was up. RR Kabil, yesterday was a big day. Today was a bigger day. Ashoka Bilcon was up almost 10%. Sun TV, HBL Power, Quick Heal has been having a fantastic last 10 days. And Spandana Spurti was another one which did well. Losses coming through in some news-related names. Navin Fluorine was one. MCX was another. Tube Investments was lower. Ease My Trip, Finolex Cables, Mapma India, and Delivery were some of the other names which saw some pullbacks. Well, I think we need continuity in terms of more moderation in the three things, the global three things which affect us the most: oil, yields, and the dollar. And of course, it's also the US government shutdown deadline, which will matter. That's over the weekend. And hopefully, because Monday is a holiday and we come back on Tuesday, we'll have these things lined up nicely for the market to pick up, continue to pick up and repair the damage we've seen recently. Back to you.
Yes, it is a long weekend, isn't it, Prashant? Many thanks for joining us to take us through the market action today. Now, as Prashant was mentioning, SEBI has asked commodity exchange MCX to keep the transition to its new platform in abeyance. Remember, the Chennai Financial Market and Accountability legal petition related to the commodity derivative platform is awaiting a decision from the Madras High Court. Now, the exchange has said it will place detailed documents before SEBI's Technical Advisory Committee, the stock ending lower on the back of this development. Take a look.
Technical issue which was causing problem last time that are not there. So I think this is like we don't have any empirical evidence that how the transitioning will take place, because this is not gone in Indian Indian exchanges as far as the technology change is concerned. But I think going forward, we are of the view that this should take place quite smoothly.
Since last April onwards, whenever exchange was almost on the verge of transitioning from their software, there have been significant concerns from us also that the system was not working properly and all those things. But especially off late, in the recent mock sessions, in the last 1.5 months, where the mock has been going on very well, I think largely most of the issues are sorted out.
Well, that is the MCX transition issue that continues to hang in the crossfire. Now, Robert Califf, the Commissioner of the United States Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, has told CNBC-TV18 that the U.S. is looking to cut its dependence on China and source more from the world. Dr. Califf, who has been on a visit to India, says that India remains a dominant supplier and is likely to benefit from the growing demand of drugs globally. He also warned that there will be more unannounced quality inspections at medicine factories in India. Look at this exclusive conversation that my colleague Ekta Batra had with the U.S. FDA Commissioner.
One of the key issues that the U.S. is facing is of drug shortages, which is at a multi-year high. How much of it is because of non-compliant facilities?
As our population ages in the U.S. and with 7.6 billion other people in the world, the demand for these drugs is only going to grow tremendously. So India, as a leading manufacturer, has a very bright future here. And we are seeing exemplary firms that are doing a tremendous and reliable job. But what happens is these drugs are also being sold at a very low margin. Remember, the concept behind generic drugs is you're making a copy of what was already made and sold as an innovator drug under patent protection. When the patent runs out, now you're in the generic phase. And the whole issue there is, can you reproducibly make the same drug, and then the competition is on price. And when the economics are not right, the firms may find that it's very difficult to invest in the technology and the people that they need. There's also competition for the best people. The ones who really know how to do it are valuable, just like any other aspect of life. So all of this together creates a situation where if we do an inspection and find a problem, and the company needs to stop making the drug while it fixes its issues, then a shortage occurs in the U.S. because the supply chain has not been built to be as resilient as it should be.
Well, that is the U.S. FDA Commissioner in conversation with Ekta Batra. The Hindustan Zinc board has authorized its committee of directors to evaluate corporate restructuring. The company plans to create separate legal entities for undertaking its zinc, lead, silver and recycling businesses. Nisha standing by now to take us through the details. Nisha, any update from the management on what it intends to do from here on?
That's right, Shireen. It's a massive restructuring exercise that has been announced by Hindustan Zinc. And also on that particular matter, Arun Mishra, who's the CEO of Hindustan Zinc, has clarified on a lot of points on the questions we posed to him. So he's exclusively given us a lot of understanding on this particular matter and how the restructuring will go through. First of all, an independent committee along with the management will recommend the scheme to the board of directors directors as well as the Government of India for their approval. So the question of Government of India's stake and whether or not they are on board, that has been clarified very emphatically through this particular conversation. So Government of India will be asked for their approval to this. They have also stated to us that the proposed scheme of arrangement and the restructuring will help Government of India in easing its divestment aspect when it is concerning Hindustan Zinc. Now, as part of the overall restructuring, the company wants to put out a few important points that it is in favor of all the stakeholders because of the unlocking of the value proposition in each of the businesses. For example, silver, which is a byproduct, which is financially reported separately by the company, if unlocked as a separate entity, its P multiples and valuations would be much higher than what it has combined with zinc at the moment, because globally the silver companies are getting higher valuations. So in the similar fashion, all the value unlocking by separate businesses is something which is going to be a higher value proposition for the group as well as the stakeholders. So in this exclusive conversation, the biggest point that is coming out is the comfort given by the company on Government of India's role as well as approval. And they have also emphatically stated that it could really bring much better value proposition with its stake in Hindustan Zinc as well.
All right, Nisha, appreciate you joining us. That is the latest as far as Hindustan Zinc's proposed restructuring is concerned. Now, renewed hopes for Jet Airways' relaunch. The Jalan Kalrock Consortium says it has paid 350 crore rupees towards the revival of the grounded airline. JKC has said that with this payment, it has fulfilled all commitments needed to take control of the airline. It also hopes to take Jet Airways back to the skies in 2024. Madiha is standing by now with more details. Madiha, we've been waiting for this, but does this mean that we will finally see Jet Airways being revived? Have you spoken with the lenders? What do they have to say?
Well, exactly that, Shireen. It is much more than what meets the eye. And before I take you through those issues, here's how Jalan Kalrock claims to have paid the 350 crore rupees. The consortium had paid 150 crores towards performance guarantee after the resolution plan was approved in June 2021. It was allowed to invoke that amount and include it in its payment system. Then, after several court appeals and deadline extensions, it deposited another 100 crores in August, and as ordered by the NCLT, it paid an additional 100 crores today. Now, while the JKC claims it has fulfilled all financial commitments needed for ownership transfer, there is no confirmation on whether the lenders are satisfied with this payment and are willing to hand over the airline's control. Another major hurdle could be the payment of over 270 crores towards gratuity and PF of its former employees that was ordered by the Supreme Court. The consortium has asked the NCLT to allow it to make these payments in installments of 3 years, 4 years and 5 years. The employee unions tell me they are planning to oppose that demand and seek a one-time payment settlement in case the tribunal grants that relief to the JKC. And that's not it. The airline doesn't have an air operator certificate as yet. It will need to demonstrate operational capability with the required staff and the required fleet. So while JKC is confident of taking Jet Airways back to the skies in 2024, how will it navigate these issues is something we will need to watch for.
Yes, many unanswered questions remain. Thanks very much, Madiha, for joining us with the latest. Now, Air India has acquired its first Airbus A350-900 aircraft through a finance lease transaction with HSBC. This is the first such financing transaction from the Tata Group carrier to buy 470 aircraft from Airbus and Boeing. It's also the first such transaction by an airline through India's first international financial services centre in Gift City. Air India CEO Campbell Wilson had confirmed the news to us just last week.
We're in the process right now of taking legal delivery of the first A350s, 6 of which we should receive by March or April next year. Next week we should take legal ownership of our first 737s, and there's a team in Seattle as we speak taking delivery. So it's all happening quite fast. Bear in mind it was only January that we signed the orders for the new aircraft, and it's already at the point that we're now starting to take legal ownership.
Well, adding capacity, that's Air India. Time for us to head to a short break. But up next, the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar meets U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in Washington. America says discussions were held on a range of topics, including key outcomes of India's G20 presidency. That and more when we return. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and the U.S. State Secretary Anthony Blinken in Washington. Both countries have agreed to continue their cooperation in defense, space and clean energy. They've also laid the groundwork for a 2+2 dialogue. 44 flights cancelled today due to a statewide ban being observed by pro-Kannada groups opposing the release of Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu. Schools and colleges remained shut in Bengaluru. The city's police imposed Section 144 and detained over 200 protesters. The apex court had earlier upheld the Kaveri Water Management Authority's order, which had asked Karnataka to release 5,000 cusecs of water to Tamil Nadu. At least 52 people have been killed and more than 50 have been injured in a suicide blast near a mosque in Pakistan's Baluchistan province. The blast occurred at a gathering to celebrate the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. The casualties are being treated at hospitals in the nearby town. No group has claimed responsibility for the blast. The government has responded to Tamil actor Vishal's claims of corruption at the Central Bureau of Film Certification. The actor said the censor board demanded a bribe of 6.5 lakh rupees for the Hindi censor rights of his latest release, Mark Antony. The government has called the charge unfortunate and said it will launch an inquiry into the matter immediately. Now, India has a rapidly growing content creator economy, and that's the growth driver YouTube is banking on. CNBC-TV18 Shilpa Ranipeta caught up with Ishan John Chatterjee, YouTube's director for India, on the sidelines of the YouTube Fan Fest. Chatterjee says curbing misinformation is a priority for the platform. He also laid out the growth roadmap for YouTube. Take a look.
Welcome to YouTube Fan Fest India.
The recently concluded YouTube India Fan Fest in Mumbai was a testament to the explosion of the creator economy in the past decade. Take this for instance. In India alone, YouTube has over 7,000 channels with more than 1 million subscribers, an increase of more than 50%. The total number of hours of content uploaded on YouTube by Indian channels has also increased sharply, 40% higher than last year. And a lot of this rise has come since June this year. YouTube says the reach and ease in content creation and posting has been a critical factor, but this comes with its own challenges as well.
As I mentioned before, creation has really gone through the roof, especially with the explosion of short-form video or shorts, as well as consumption on the living room screens. So for us, as we look at this whole journey, it's been really given us incredible insight into how this whole ecosystem has changed. Now, in terms of some of the numbers in our growth, today you can reach 4 out of 5 internet users in India on YouTube.
Okay.
And if you look at the total number of hours of content uploaded to YouTube by Indian channels, that number grew 40% year on year from June this year versus the previous period. YouTube Music and Premium is a fantastic product. We recently announced over 80 million subscribers and trialers globally. And one of our key focus areas is how do we make it more accessible to Indians.
I wanted to understand for YouTube, how are you looking at curbing misinformation? And I think this becomes really important in the light of the upcoming general elections also, if I'm to look at it from a larger sense.
This is something that is so important to us. There is nothing that is more important and existential to YouTube than making sure we are responsible as a platform.
Right.
The issue that you raise, I think, is top of mind for us. If there is content that is manipulated in order to mislead somebody and it causes egregious real-world harm, it's not allowed on our platform and we will act against it. These are global policies that we enforce across the board. Having said that, technology also plays a big role over here. For example, in Q1 of this year, YouTube took down 6.48 million videos, and over 93% of those videos were detected by machines and not by humans.
YouTube believes this cleanup process is critical for growth since it's a question of credibility and safety. YouTube's analytics show users are watching 2.5 hours of content on the platform every day on connected TV, while viewership of shorts has consistently crossed 70 billion daily views globally. Going forward, growth drivers for YouTube will continue to be two main segments. One is the mobile-first consumer and creator that is creating and consuming on shorts, but it also says that it is betting on more people watching YouTube to their living rooms through connected TVs. But in terms of creators, it will now look at bringing in more and more tech-driven tools, AI-driven tools to drive the creator economy and help them monetize as well. In Mumbai, Shilpa Ranipeta.
Well, that is it on this edition of Business 360. But remember, you can watch us on YouTube as well, not just on your TV screens. And you will find us on WhatsApp, on JioCinema, on our website, CNBC-TV18.com, and on X as well. That's it then. We'll see you right after this short break. Stay tuned.